Hello, hello. Welcome back to another episode of Paper Talk Podcast. If you've been following along, and if you haven't heard yet, just a couple weeks ago, we dropped an episode on cameras and editing and all the secrets on lenses and how we photograph, how we video our different paper flowers. If you want to check that episode, we list out links and we talk about how to shoot things and what you should be doing and camera settings on your phone. So check that out. But today we want to lead up with websites. So in our mastermind, we've been just finishing off our first cohort for the Paper Talk Mastermind. And surprisingly enough, a lot of our members kept bringing up, what should we do with our website? We've done our website and they feel like it's done. They don't need to touch it anymore. But it's so untrue. You need to be constantly touching it, if you can, every single week, at least once a month, because things get outdated. You've done your workshop. Did you remove that workshop link? Did you update your website with a new link for the next workshop? And also, are you promoting all the different things that you're doing? So today we kind of want to delve in the background, what platform we're using, what kind of information you should be having on your website, and all the ins and out of it. So here we go. Who wants to start first?
I think Sarah should start because we were talking about this. We were talking about this and her frustration with her, with transferring and consolidating everything for her website.
Yeah, I started my website 16 years ago now. It's crazy.
Wow.
And 16 years ago, we did not have the services that we do have now with website hosting and domain purchasing and all of that. So yeah, I purchased them all from separate different things. So originally I started with GoDaddy and then to buy my domain. And then I had a web host called Big Cartel. I think that's what it's called. I think Big Cart or something like that. And I eventually moved to Squarespace. I actually got grandfathered into Squarespace. So I do pay very little for my unlimited amount of products in my Squarespace. So I am really
I'm so
scared
jealous.
I know. I'm really scared to touch it though, because I feel like if I upgrade anything, it's going to just, ding me back to some, regular price. So I did get to a point just recently that I realized all my newsletters were going into spam. And I think it's because of where my domain is purchased. So I purchased my domain from GoDaddy, and then that also made it so that I purchased my email, at handmadebysarahkim.com, also through GoDaddy, but they use Outlook, which is not Gmail. So then all the Gmail people were getting my emails through spam. And then all of this to say, basically, I had to spend the last month trying to figure out, you know what, I think I'm just going to call it a day and just move everything to Squarespace. Squarespace is a lot more expensive though, so I am paying a little bit more for all the services that I'm going to just consolidate to it. But it is really stressful because I don't want anything to break, right? If anything breaks, this is my whole livelihood. So I'm really scared. It's still going through right now. I think it takes a week. So I just clicked yes, consolidate, and then now, I think a week later, it's going to say, okay, I don't know. I need to check my status on this. But I haven't been able to, send out newsletters because of this. And hopefully it goes through smoothly. I don't know. We'll see.
That's so painful.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Your business is on pause right now.
Websites, I understand our mastermind members because it is intimidating. But if you don't have a website, I think we were talking about this a lot with our group and among us. I felt like if you don't have a website, once I go to your Instagram, then I just stop. I stop looking through your profile. I don't know where else to go to look more about you, right? And we were Jesse, you kept saying it was a trust thing too, right? How do I trust you to purchase anything if you don't have a legit website, right?
Yeah. I mean, that's what you do, right? Somebody refers you to someone. You're like, oh, and let me look them up. And you Google them.
Yeah.
And if their name doesn't pop up anywhere, it's hard to feel like you could trust them. The credibility is not there, especially nowadays. 10, 20 years ago, completely different, right?
Yeah.
There's still a lot of mom and pop stores that didn't have an online presence. But nowadays,
And we just call them?
Yeah, you call them. Nowadays, you can't even call them.
No.
Right?
No phone numbers.
There's no phone numbers. It's
Nobody wants to talk.
Okay, this is very personally, but I'm sure as a consumer, I'm not the only one. But if I go onto your Instagram, I don't see your full name somewhere. there's a lack of credibility there. I'm not going to trust you. I don't know who you
Oh,
are, right? I can
okay.
see your face all the time, but I want to call you something. It's even so hard to comment. So people will like comment on my work, and I would want to comment back, but I don't know what to call them. I'm like, hi,
Yeah.
friend, but I want to call you.
Yeah.
It's about connection. It's about
Yeah.
making a connection with your consumer. And that means, unfortunately, you do have to share more of yourself. Maybe it's not your full name. Maybe it's your first name. Maybe it's a nickname. You need to put a name in there, because I think that is a huge disadvantage not to take that opportunity to make a connection with a potential customer that's going to go onto your Instagram, onto your website. I hate it when I go into a website. I don't know who you are. Like your about us page should not only have, a story about you, but it should have your name there. And just your first name. It doesn't have
Can
to be
I
your
gripe
last
with
name.
you on that? I agree 100% with you on that.
It's such a disservice.
I agree. I tried my hardest when I comment on other people is I go on their Instagram page to see if they have a name. Then I'll go on the website, and it frustrates the heck out of me. I was like, how do they build trust with their customer when they don't even know who to call you?
Yeah.
Like, it's just really interesting to me on the philosophy behind that, because you are creating special momentum for people and you want to connect with them. What's a better way to connect with someone than just sharing a name? It could be a nickname. It could be a name you made up. It doesn't really matter.
It might not be your real name, but if I think it's your name, like, you know what I mean? Like, there's that trust. So,
Yes.
and it's so true. Like, if I go to your Instagram versus someone else's where I know everything about them and their name, I would probably hire them instead of you. Your work might be beautiful, but there's no proof of trust, like even proof of, let's say, testimonials, proof that you can be trusted. And then two, if you don't kind of share that part of you, then I don't know, you could be a bot, you could be AI. Nowadays, people are skeptical about who you are. It's hard to not be skeptical. You shouldn't be not skeptical. Okay. You shouldn't trust everything that you see on the web nowadays. So the fact that one, we know that reels with faces do better because people connect with faces. I connect better when you have a name on somewhere where I can read more about you. Like, I want to read more, but I want to know more about you and about your work. So a website is such a natural extension. You go on their Instagram, profile doesn't give you much, right? Maybe there's a name, maybe like there's a couple words, and then you go into their link tree and then you're like, where's their website? Because I want to know more about why they do this. Where are they coming from? I also want to know where, because I want to know if they can ship to me. Like, am I close? Can I do a local pickup? Like, you know what I mean? I do want to know where, somewhere, give me a province or state or whatever. And to see more of their work, like else can I buy? Or like, I want to buy something. I want to see what they have for sale.
I want to learn from you.
I want to learn from you. Yeah. Like, what do you offer? I want more information. And social media doesn't give enough of that. I don't want to go through all your posts to figure it out, right? Like, I want to go somewhere where I can see everything. And if I love it, then I'm going to bookmark it, and I'm going to share.
I'm going to sign up for your newsletter.
Yes, I'm going to sign up for your newsletter.
Yeah.
I know it's an extra step and it's intimidating. Honestly, nowadays, where we want to know and consume and want to know as much as possible about something, I think it's so important to feed that. Otherwise, my journey stops right there. Like, I stop. It's just I think it's human nature, right? To be like, ooh, there's so many people, I don't know enough about this person to trust them to buy something from them when you're asking me to pay XYZ, right? Yeah.
Especially if you're pricing things higher and higher as you move on to your career, that's when you definitely need to be showing who you are even more so. And I found that to be true for all three of us. I think the reason why our journey has gone so far is because we have shared our face, shared our name, shared our stories with our community, with the public. And I think that has really helped build our credibility and having a podcast where we can actually have a voice. And if you guys look, we all have websites to show for it and to show the history of how long we have the podcast, how long we've had our business. And you'll probably, if you've been following all three of us, you've seen our website change throughout the years. And it's so important to update it continuously. Your branding has changed. That's where you want to change the different colors. You want to change a new look. You want to add a different service. It's a great momentum to go ahead and change your website and update it with a new look and refresh it. Because it's exciting to be working on something that's really fun and that represents who you are. And then one thing I want to talk about is there is so many platforms right now. And I think over the years, all three of us have our business for such a long time. We've seen GoDaddy moved on to Squarespace, to go on to even Google. Google was holding our domain for a while, and now Google has sold that to Squarespace. So how do you go about moving everything? And do you have a safe email that's not your business that you can safeguard it in? So that way, whatever happens to your business, you still have the domains. Because maybe one day you want to take it back up again and maybe you lost your email, but you still have that domain available. And look around, do your research, use ChatGPT or AI to research and give you all the different things and just be very specific saying, I am going to be selling my paper flowers. I will not be selling online courses. I want to be shipping only in the United States, or I want to ship internationally. Which are the website out there that will give me this? I mean, Shopify will now give you a website. Etsy still does, which is a great platform for a lot of beginners to have a free website, which is all you need really. It's just an about page. How can they order from you and where can they ship it from? It could be bare minimum.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be complicated. I think it's just having a presence, and so that it kind of satisfies people's curiosity to build that trust. So yeah, the About Me page, maybe pictures, portfolio of your work. Maybe if you've worked with certain brands, add those in there too. Tell them why you're doing it and then where you're located. Like very simple things, but I think it makes a huge difference in how you're perceived as a business. Even though we all know you're a small business, you're probably, a sole proprietor, or you're the only one there, but still like that professionalism, I think makes a huge difference in creating that trust factor.
Yeah, definitely. And I would say Google is still a big factor on search engine. So make sure your SEO and that search optimization on your keywords, long keywords that's scattered throughout your website. And one of the best way to have that is actually having a blog. If you don't have a blog, and it doesn't have to be many, but at least do one about yourself, do some about your different projects, do what you're passionate about. Those are where you can actually add in those keywords that Google can actually reference and put you out there into the World Wide Web.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been trying to revive my blog for the longest time, and it's so hard. It's always that back end thing, Yeah, but I think it's so important, like you said, Quinn, if you actually blog, it does trigger like those keywords when people are searching for you. And it's just like more chances to be discovered and more chances to be found on the internet. And I think it's also an easy way to pin, like people could pin your things on a blog. And again, another
Make sure you
way
have
to get your
images.
name out there.
Yeah.
Images, yeah.
Images are so important to be able to hook it up to Pinterest, because Pinterest is another search engine. Even though people say it's a social media, it's actually a search engine. And it's a great way for people to reference things many, many years out. It's a slow growing piece. It's not right away. It's a sleeper. A lot of people are not still using it. I feel like we have talked about Pinterest so many times and pushed it out there, but I feel like people haven't. Or tell us why. Tell us why you're not using Pinterest, because we are really curious. I think all three of us use Pinterest to research on other projects, to pin our own work, pin our workshops. And it's a great way to put your name out there and your work. It is relatively easy for people to copy and take your work, but in the long term, I think it outweighs the benefits of having pins on Pinterest.
For sure.
Yeah, definitely.
So I suppose if your web presence, so like you do all this other stuff, TikTok, Pinterest, Substack, you do all this other stuff and you don't have a website, it could be okay because there's so many other ways to reach you. But that's not usually the case. Yeah, it's about presence. This is about credibility. It's about, driving exposure. People need to see you. And if they only see you in one place and nowhere else, and they can't look for you anywhere else, then you do start to question, right?
Yeah.
Like, are they real? No, AI bots are real, right? Instagram's created AI accounts and they're very proud of it. And I'm like, so you do have to be skeptical. You do have to look beyond the information you're given and do your own research and see if these people are credible. So if that's the case, then you want to make sure that you have somewhere for people to look for you and find that right information, like the correct information and not misinformation, right?
And I think it needs to be updated too. I feel like if I go onto your website and it looks outdated, or if it looks like you didn't update it for a really long time, if there happens to be like a date of some sort, Like even on your
Mhm.
Instagram, if you didn't post since a year ago, then I'm like, oh, okay, that's it,
I know.
So I think
Yeah.
even with the website, it kind of has to look updated. And then I'll be like, oh,
Yeah.
okay, she actually, or, the person actually
Actively, yeah.
updates it
Mhm.
often,
Yeah.
then I want to go check
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
And don't forget this one. Make sure you're checking your website on your desktop, on your iPad, and also on your mobile phone because it
Mhm.
looks different and it might
Yeah.
react differently. And depending on what website host that you're using, you can actually be able to switch from view to view and turn things on and off because
Mhm.
maybe it doesn't make sense on a mobile phone, whereas on a desktop you have more room to be able to showcase things.
Yeah. And test it out with people so that people can actually look through it and be like, okay, yeah, that looks complicated. I didn't know where that
Mhm.
button was. Then you need to change it up because it does need to be
Yeah.
user friendly.
Have your spouse or your siblings, family, close friends test all the different buttons and tell them to be honest because if they're not being honest with your look, then you're like doing a passable job. I mean,
Yeah.
I would feel like even my website, you can critique it and there's like, oh, that's not looking good. You need to move that. I mean, I feel like everybody website can use that extra
Mhm.
help from friends to say, oh, I don't think you did that right. You need to change it. So yeah, always have several different eyes looking at it and testing your website because there are bugs. There's always bugs in websites.
Yeah.
Broken links because you updated this and you forgot about that. And there's so many places that you have to update things nowadays because things are linked so many different places. It's so interesting. It's like you have the follow-up email if you purchase something, you forgot to update that. And then you have the confirmation, then you have the
yes.
shipping. And it's like so many things. I know it feels daunting, but if you break it down and just take baby steps, you'll be able to figure things out. And then testing is so important.
Mhm.
And the biggest advice I can say, just do it. Just
Yeah.
do a landing page. If that's all you can do a landing page with a
Start from
picture of
there.
your work,
Yeah.
because that's the most important thing is having a way for people to contact you. And even more, if you can do a newsletter where you can grab people email, that's really important. And you don't have to email them every single week. You can do once a month. You can do once a quarter. Just let them know, like, I will not spam you. I will probably email you twice a year when I have a sale. What, maybe? Or maybe they're there just to grab a coupon. So do an incentive for people to sign up for your email. That is do a giveaway or of a document or a discount code. Those are really easy to do or free shipping. But free shipping now is so expensive. I feel like a discount code is better.
I know.
Yeah.
I think it's hard for
Yeah.
free shipping for what we do, but yeah.
I know. It really is. It really is. So make sure you're looking at several different websites. I know Squarespace is a really big one out there. Shopify is another one. Etsy is another one. I use Kajabi for Paper Talk podcast because we do have an online presence for doing our podcast, for doing our mastermind, for doing our all these various different
Courses.
things. Yeah, courses. And then what other websites are out there? There's Teachable still, and there's Podium. There's so many out there now. Research it. Do the trial period and be ready to invest in that trial period before you do move on. And put an alert on your phone. It's like, okay, I have 3 more days before this trial period expires. Have I checked it out? If you haven't, make sure to cancel it so you don't get charged. Just put an alert on your phone.
Yeah.
And that will save you a lot. And I do that every time I purchase some sort of app now. I put an alert a year down the road or a month down the road to let me know, do I need to evaluate? Do I need to keep it? Do I need to cancel it?
Yeah.
Because all the money we're making, don't spend it unwisely. Make sure the money's going the right way. Because I have done it because I like, oh, I'm going to use it. And then 6 months down the road, nope, didn't quite worked out the way I planned it. So yeah.
Oh, one thing we did bring up during our mastermind was about shipping. The back end on the shipping can be a bit complicated, but I mean, I guess what we ended up recommending was essentially like, don't let that hold you back, because it could take, I don't want to intimidate you guys. It could take weeks. It could take weeks, right? Of research, of trial and error to get those figures right in the back end in terms of shipping. You don't necessarily need to have all that down. You can always just literally just tell people to, oh, buy, and then like, I'll email you back about shipping costs. And customers generally don't have an issue with that. If they want what you sell, they'll pay for it. And they understand that shipping's on top, because the reality is that most things you actually do have to pay shipping on top. So, but yeah, there's many ways to kind of procrastinate before you finish or even put up a website.
Yeah.
And I think it's just best to, like Quinn was saying, just do it. Just do
Yeah.
those couple of pages and see what happens,
Oh,
and
yeah. I do need to tell you guys, if you're shipping internationally, especially from the United States to other countries, tariff is in effect. And I had shipped out supplies for a workshop I did with Hitomi Gillian for students in Canada, and they had to pay a tariff. So make sure to let your customer know about that. Yeah.
it's probably a reciprocal tariff.
Yeah, it is. It is. It is. So just be warned, it's there, and just be kind and notify them so they're not surprised about it. I would say we were surprised because we didn't know that was coming. And we did this last year when it was in that weird time frame where is it not? And it was. So just FYI, it's in effect right now.
So yeah, if you're shipping things out, you need terms and conditions on that.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
No, to protect yourself.
But that shouldn't hold you back on getting a website though, because I do think
Yes, you shouldn't.
that there's going to be a lot of trial and error, even within the website and through shipping and just in general with your business. But you do have to start. And I think it's funny, like a little story from our mastermind. One of them asked us, okay, so like, how long do you think it's going to take? And we were all like, within the day, you just got to do it. Not like a whole month for it, So yeah, I mean, you got to just crank it out first to just get something set up. And then over time, you could change it up and, tweak it. And I mean, you're going to be doing that forever after that, right? Even right now, all three of us, we are always updating our website. So yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. If we could advise our listeners, if they had a website, what are the top 3 things they need to have on their website just to call it good enough?
I say portfolio
me?
first.
Yes.
Yeah.
Images
Okay. About me.
of your work. About me.
Images, portfolio.
Images, yeah.
Yeah.
A newsletter sign up.
Yes.
And
I would
then,
say those 3.
yeah, and then somewhere on the page it has to say, like, if you don't have a shop, it has to say like, contact me for commissions or how to buy. You know what I mean? Like, you got to put it out there that you're selling, or else people might go to it and be like, I don't like, she does all these things, but she's selling. Is she like, you actually have to tell people some way, right? Contact, I don't know, email me if you like what you see or something. I don't know. Something, something to let them know that they can contact you to buy things from you or teach.
If you have an online shop and if you only have one thing and you're not even ready about that, just say, join my wait list. That way you're not committed and you're like, oh, people are interested. That way you can personally reach out to them and say, hey, I saw you're on the wait list and here's what I'm offering. So that could be a great way to customize an order for them and then do it after the fact that they reach out to you and they're on your wait list. But it's a great way to get people on your email list or your newsletter list saying, hey, they really want my stuff. It's a confidence booster when someone says, yes, I want more information from you.
So essentially a call to action.
Yes.
Some sort.
Call to action.
Some sort. What do you want them to do when they land on your website? This is marketing terms. What do you want them to do? Contact you, be on your newsletter, buy something. Like, what is it? You have to tell them what you want them to do.
Yeah. And when you're doing your website, think of your brand colors. Think of the primary color that you want to represent your brand and then stick with that and maybe do complementary colors that will offset it. And then get people to look at it and get their opinion and trust yourself. Even though you're listening to what they're saying, if it feels good to you, make the change. If it doesn't, stick with your guns saying, this is what I really want. Because it's, after all, your website and not theirs. And they're just giving opinions. And just know there will be a lot of opinions about your website. And you might want to change everything and feel like it's not good enough. But you know what? You just need to have your information out there. Because when Google looks at your website, they're not looking at colors. They're not looking at your image. They're looking at your words. So make sure your words represent who you are and make sure your SEO is, if you're doing paper flowers, make sure you have lots of paper flowers thrown in there. Make sure you write crepe paper. Make sure you write cardstock. Make sure that you, in the United States, I'm in Seattle, Washington. So that way it's more localized. The more detail you are, the better the search engine will push you up on their search.
Man, we could have a whole episode on SEO.
I know. I was going to say, I use ChatGPT for all of that. I just ask like, okay, this is what I do. Can you just spit out a bunch of SEO, like best SEO practices for paper flowers or whatever. And it will do a pretty good job. And at least you can start from there.
Yeah, exactly. It's a good starter point for sure.
Yeah, I know, because that stuff, you really don't want it to bog down you being able to publish that website. There's a lot of stuff
Yeah.
on the back end you can do, but I don't let that prevent you from showing your best face and putting your best face forward.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Anything else that we can share with our listeners about website? I feel like we did a good job covering all the different components.
Yeah, when you were talking about it, I was like, oh, we talked a little bit about it before when we were doing the switch to Squarespace and Kajabi and stuff. So
I actually, one of the things that I wanted to bring up would be your link in bio. I think it's really important. The link in bio is actually on my website. It's like through my website. So I actually don't use Linktree. I think if you can, you might as well keep it within your website. And then you need to update that every time. Sometimes if you just do link in bio and it just goes to your website, like your first homepage, like they're like, okay, but where do I go from here? So you almost need to like have a separate section where it literally says, do you want to buy templates? Do you want to buy a tutorial? Do you want to buy my actual paper flower? And then you could have those links available. I think that is pretty important.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, like you said, like you don't want it to end. You don't want their journey to end. You want them to know where to go. Yeah.
Yes. Now all on the phone.
Yeah. And on my LinkedIn page, because I have it linked through my website, there's a form that they can fill out to join my newsletter. So wherever I can put my sign up for my newsletter, I have it there. On my home page, on my about page, on my LinkedIn page. It's just so important now because you never know the social media platform, your followers, where do they go if you lose that platform? So your email is your safeguard to make sure that they know what's happening with you and how you're moving forward. Yep. All right, now for our favorite part of the episode, I'm going to put it out there. I love Flowdesk. Even though Kajabi has an email, it's never been the pretty email. I feel like it's very basic, very functional. You had to do a lot of phoneticking on the side. I thought it was a good investment for us to move to Flowdesk. And thanks to Jessie because she was using it first and she was the one that suggested it. But Flowdesk is so pretty. It does a really great job on getting your message out and making it look pretty. And I feel like that is something that I want to invest in. Like all three of us are all about the pretty things.
Yeah.
And that makes a big difference for us.
It makes it a lot easier to want to write a newsletter as well, right? Because you get to kind of play around with things. You can change colors. It's a really nice, it's a really nice setup. And it's so easy to use. Like the drag and drop. It's not difficult. It's very intuitive in a way that, And I love that now they have new workflows as well. Speaking of workflows, it's such a pain when like new like functions come in because then I'm like, do I have to redo my workflows, which is a real pain. There's no easy way to like upgrade it to the new and improved workflow. You got to redo it all, So I mean, it's great that new functions come out like periodically on Flowdesk as well. I really like that. Like they're always trying to improve. But we were also really lucky that we got locked into the beta, right?
Yes, it's so expensive now.
It is expensive now. Well, I mean, it's comparable to other providers. But I mean, the good thing about Flowdesk is that you pay the price and there's no limit in terms of how many subscribers you have. Yeah, right. So you can have 100 subscribers or you can have 10,000 and you're still paying the same price. But there's a lot of email providers out there that you cannot do that. And it sucks because even when people subscribe and they unsubscribe, it's considered a subscriber until you clear, you clean your list completely. I'm looking at MailChimp. Okay. MailChimp. That's what you do. That's what you do. And they're getting so expensive. So, but well, maybe we should say the difference between, let's say, Gmail and Flowdesk is that Flowdesk is a email marketing service, meaning there's a different sort of criteria, I guess, in terms of receiving emails from mass marketing providers versus your personal email. Gmail's locked down a lot on emails that are sent from your email account to hundreds of people because they consider that spam. People will do that, right? Literally people do that to spam you. So they've really screened those out and automatically divert those into junk or spam mail. So if you're sending from your personal email, that's what's going to happen. probably like, 80, 75, 90% of the people on your list won't see that email. So that's why you have to invest in a email marketing provider where you do pay a fee for their service, but at least they have certain protections. You authenticate your domain. So whatever your email, your domain name that you're using for your email. And once you authenticate that and it goes through those email providers, then generally it doesn't go into spam because they know that it's people who subscribe want to receive your email. But yeah, it is something extra you have to think about. It's another cost.
Yes. Oh, also, if you guys are thinking about doing a newsletter and you don't want the monetary commitment, Substack is actually a newsletter. So you can sign up for a newsletter through Substack, and it's basically free, you guys. So that's one way around. If you're just starting and you're not 100% sure, you can write your newsletter and
Through Substack.
gatekeep it into your Substack. So it's a great way to get your information out there.
Yeah.
And it's free. Do it. No excuses. How about you guys? What's your favorite buy these days?
I guess to just continue on with the whole newsletter thing, I think, my favorite website right now is Canva to do newsletters, actually, because I want to. I am also limited to making my newsletters pretty. It's like within the template, right? So then you could make your own template through Canva and then input it. So it does help make it look a little bit more unique without just having one photo on there or something, So if you want to make a little collage of some sort, you can use Canva and you just use like a transparent background and it'll like go into your newsletter, make it look all like polished without actually changing the template. So I would recommend using Canva. And I don't know how much is it like $15 per month? It's expensive, but I don't know. You guys have to look up what the rate is for that. But is there free options too for Canva?
Yeah.
You don't have access to all the templates, but it's a great way. I love Canva.
I mean,
Yeah.
I use the free one. For a time, I did pay for the premium, but then I have Photoshop as well. So I was like, there's no point in me paying for both. So
True,
I don't use the pro. I just use the free version. And there's
Okay.
a lot of options. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say you would want to use Canva if you're not a graphic designer or you don't have an aesthetic because they have an archive of different templates that's already pre-made. All you have to do is drop in the images, change the text because the font and the collage of template's already there. And it's so easy to plug and play.
Yeah.
And if you don't want the headache or you don't know how to go about doing it, stick with the free version. See if you like it and just use it. And you're able to change things up, even if there's a template. You can delete things, you can add things, you can change the colors, you can change the font, but it's a great starting point. I think a lot of people are scared when they stare at a blank screen. They don't know where to start.
Yeah.
And Canva helps you with that by giving you like all these options. Pick the one that you like and then start from there and then clean it up the way you want it to be.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
How about you, Jessie?
I don't have a newsletter thing, but I think I talked about it before in one of our podcasts, but I use Drop-in Blog for to add a blog into my learning management platform. So the learning management platform, the LMP that I use is Thinkific, and that hosts like all my online courses. But they don't have a blog option, which blows my mind because I'm like, how else are you supposed to promote your online courses if you don't write about them? So I ended up having to, I guess, pay for this extra service and that it gets, I guess, installed onto one of my pages on my Thinkific page. So that has been great. Like it took some time to move everything over, but now we were talking about SEO. Now I have SEO that's connected directly to my Thinkific website with blogs and I can pin and the pin will actually show up as craftedtobloom.com, right?
Nice.
So yeah, it wasn't cheap, but it was like, I thought it was worth the investment given what the possible, I think, outcome could be in terms of having more eyes get on my educational website. But yeah, like it was pretty affordable. I don't remember me being like, whoa, that was so expensive. I think you could pay like monthly or you pay like an annual fee. Yeah. I just rolled it in as a cost for running, Thinkific in my online courses. Yeah. But but speaking of blogs, like the great thing about Drop-in Blog is that it actually has like on the back end, you write your blog and at the bottom, it reminds you of what you need, your SEO, your long description, your short description. And all I did was I would ask ChatGPT to tell me like, I need these things, like give it to me.
Yeah.
And then I would, and I would just enter them in depending on what ChatGPT told me, because honestly, that stuff is not worth spending time on, your precious time on. So,
Yeah.
but ChatGPT is so good because it literally like goes through the web and tells you like what's the best ones. So
Yeah.
you might as well use those. And then usually these blog ones have like, yellow, green, like green is good, right? Yellow is like amber, like it could be better. And they tell you all these things. So what I liked about this option is that it gave me feedback, I guess, on whether or not I should improve my blog or if it's too long or whatnot. And that helps with SEO. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for listening to our podcast today on your walk or just hanging out making paper flowers in your studio. We're so happy you're here with us. So join us in a couple of weeks for another episode. And if you enjoyed this episode, please give us a like, a follow, or even drop down a comment. We would love to hear from you. And that will only help support this particular podcast. All right. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.